It is quite funny that I am the armor knight guy, and I am several days late to a topic of discussion. My movement is just not that good, I'm sorry.
There is no meme. This is just a threat.
If you have been living under a rock or other such large boulder-esque item the last few days, then you might not know that Fire Emblem has finally gotten a new game announcement. Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave. It is a Three Houses thing. Sequel, prequel, we don't fully know yet. And I wanted to give my thoughts on the trailer, because 10,000 of you people are subscribed and care about my opinions. Because I am just that important, intelligent, and mature that my thoughts on things matter a lot more than other people's. Anyways, I really like what it looks like so far. I'm not gonna lie to you, the thrill of life and the whimsy of living are once again in my heart. I absolutely love everything about what that trailer has. Let's start with the aesthetic. I adore that we are having a Greco-Roman inspired Fire Emblem. I saw a tweet from a Twitter user named Forte. He's a cool guy, you should follow him. And he's just like, it's crazy that it took so long for us to get here, considering that our main character of the first game was named Mars. And I'm like, yeah, it is crazy that it took this long. From just the character designs to the like Colosseum pit fighting theme of the main story. I'm pretty sure I saw an aqueduct in the trailer as well. Like, I am all for a Roman-inspired Fire Emblem. There was a chariot unit in the trailer as well. That was really cool. I really like the aesthetic look of this game. I feel like it's something that should have happened a long time ago, because Fire Emblem has typically been a sort of, British, no, not necessarily British, but like English-esque fantasy. And the only time it went away from that was in Fire Emblem Fates, and I actually really liked the Hoshido units. I thought going to Japanese fantasy was a really cool idea. I wanted to see more of it, and now I'm seeing more of it. Fire Emblem Heroes also does Norse-like fantasy, but it's the gacha game, so who cares? I really like that. I'm really curious to see how far they go with it. If we're gonna see some dudes who look like motherfucking Pantheon from League of Legends, that would be really cool. I will have an army of 17 chariot units. You can't stop me. I think that's gonna be great. I just really like the look of it. It looks like it's clearly connected to Three Houses, but not so much so that it looks like Three Houses again. It is very clearly something new in the Three Houses span. Story and character-wise, we know very little. We know that it has something to do with some grand gladiator tournament, which I think is pretty cool. Pit fighters have been in this franchise since the start. Ogma's entire character, and because FE6 is actually FE1 too, Dick's entire character, even Kaga's still doing this with Zaid. I really think it's a neat setup to have all these stories come together for one grand central tournament, which has led to some people being worried we're going to have a bunch of, like, 4 different routes, and it's all going to be really obnoxious to play all 4 of them. But I don't know if it's going to be exactly like Three Houses with the route split, because Fire Emblem has done route splits in pretty much every game. So is this going to be like a Celica and Alm thing, where each of the 4 stories are largely self-contained, like no units transfer between them, you are following these 4 stories until they come together at the end with the big bad, which I'm actually leaning towards that, mainly because of the title. Fortune's Weave, when things weave together, they come together. So instead of this being 4 stories like in Three Houses that start at the same and then branch off, I think these are 4 stories that are going to start separately and then branch together. So, when that will happen, I don't know. I don't think it'll be like Gaiden, where it's literally only at the end. I think we might be looking at a Radiant Dawn situation, where it's 4 separate armies. Maybe some characters will be sliding between different armies at different points in the story. Like in Radiant Dawn, how, Ilyana just gets passed around a lot. Or there was someone else in Dayan's army specifically that, like, goes around a bit. Actually, like, Meg can get recruited into Crimea/Ike's army, or Zahark, etc. Like, you can have units move around a lot. Hopefully availability isn't as scuffed as Radiant Dawn, but I would like to believe that Fire Emblem is capable of learning from its mistakes, and they're not going to have a clusterfuck like Radiant Dawn again. If I see an availability chart in Fortune's Weave that looks anything like Tormod, Morim, and Vika, I'm going to kill someone. But with that being said, I am very interested in how the 4 stories go. Kai seems to be the, like, typical main character. He's gonna go save his dad. He's very much younger than the rest of the characters, at least from what I can tell. This is Fire Emblem. Though all 4 main characters look to be different ages, they could all be 17 for all I know. Look at Hector. I'm very curious to see how he functions as a unit, because his description... Hold on, I have it on my cellular phone. Yeah, from Nintendo Topics, I'm reading the Serene's Forest Twitter here. Kai, a young boy from the countryside who joined the heroic games, where skilled warriors gather to help his father. He's skilled with the lance, can also fight while riding tamed animals. Animals being plural is something I'm really into. You saw that he was riding some kind of, like, chicken or cockatrice monster, and I'm wondering if Kai is gonna function like Tiki in Fire Emblem 3. And for those of you that haven't played Fire Emblem 3, you should, it's a damn good game. Tiki can collect various different magic stones from a secret shop that let her transform into a different group of dragons, instead of just her normal divine dragon. There's the Wyvern Stone that gives her the weakest combat, but gives her 10 movement, which is insane. There's the Demon Stone, I think it's the Mage Stone, whatever, that gives her virtual invincibility to magic, but doesn't increase her physical defense as much as other stones. The Divine Stone, which just gives her an all-around the best stat boost, but doesn't have the unique niches of the other 2. I'm wondering if Kai's going to function like that, where he can change his mount, and whichever mount he has will affect him in some way. Maybe riding the chicken gives him, I don't know, the ability to jump over obstacles, or some kind of offensive buff. If he gets on a horse, and it's just one horse, he gets a movement buff, but his other stats are not increased very well. Maybe he can ride, I don't know, it's a pipe dream, but like a golem and get a really big defensive boost at the cost of his movement and speed being lowered. I'm wondering how in-depth Kai's ability to ride mounts is going to be, or if it's just normal Fire Emblem stuff and he just promotes and it's not that interesting. That being said, we do know that the leveling system is going to be like 3 Houses and Genealogy of the Holy War, because one of the units was a level 33 Myrmidon. So it's not going to be normal Fire Emblem level 1 to 20 for base class, promote, go back to level 1. We know it's going to have that 3 Houses-esque class system, which I actually really liked. I hope that the way to get the weapon ranks is a little different. I'm not too big into the teaching thing, but given that we're gladiators, there's probably a bunch of training dojos. Maybe each unit just goes in there and trains, and there's all kinds of neat branching promotions. But I'm getting sidetracked from talking about the lords, aren't I? So I'll see what Kai does. The fact, it's probably intentional that the first thing they had him ride was, let me look at it again. It's like, would that be considered a cockatrice? I don't know. I don't know enough about the cock community to know what a cockatrice's technical definition is. In my mind, it's just monstrous chicken. But the fact that that was what he was riding feels very intentional. Just to, like, show you, hey, there's gonna be all kinds of weird-ass mounts in this game. Don't think you're walking in here and just getting horses and Pegsai like the series are known for. I think we're gonna see a lot of weird shit that Kai can ride, and I'm really curious about that. And while his story is the least interesting on, like, the surface level, he's just fighting to save his dad, I mean, you can still make that work. People are already saying that guy's dad is dead because this is Fire Emblem. I think it'd be really interesting if he lives, like he's the actual main goal. I feel like parents in JRPGs do have a chance of surviving if they are brought up as the main goal from the start. But then again, there's still plenty of times where they die. I think his dad's probably dead. But let's have a little hope, okay? A little bit of hope. The next main character was the woman Theodora, the queen, seeking power for her nation. I don't think we know why she wants her nation to be powerful, if there's actually some kind of outside threat coming to kill her, or she just wants to be strong. I don't know. She did show off gambits in an area of effect attack. She called up her units and it did, like, damage to 3 units in a line. It makes me wonder if gambits are going to be, like, her thing, or if she was just showing off that gambits are back in battalions. Which, I love battalions. I think they could be a little bit too strong, but I genuinely think giving your units an army to command over and a stat that governs how well they can command over an army is really cool. It also helps like, a lot of people don't realize in Fire Emblem, your army isn't literally just the 30 or so dudes you use. They're more so like figureheads of, like, a troop. Except, I think Thracia specifically, you might actually only have, no, even Thracia, Leaf had like 10,000 men. So, the gambits and battalions kind of helped remind you you are in a war with many, many participants, and I would love to see that return. But even if it is just the Queen Theodora's own unique thing, it'd still be interesting. There are so many ways you could do gambits and area of effect attacks. Fire Emblem really hasn't dabbled in AoE that much. I'm thinking literally just like the Earthstone in Arcanea. Yeah, that's about it outside of the gambits. So seeing them come back is really good. It forces you to think about positioning a lot more than you already do. So I'm glad to see that's coming back. As for her story, I'm just gonna have to see. She looks really cool. I would love to know more about her kingdom and why she needs power. But again, we have one trailer, so I'm not exactly too sure how things are shaping out right now. But, can't wait to see more about her. And I'm gonna be a predictable little bitch, alright? Next up is Dietrich. Dietrich. I think Dietrich is how you say his name. He's Alucard. Everyone has just said that he's Alucard from Castlevania, which is really fucking funny to me. But yeah, I'm very curious about him. He's my favorite of the 4 so far, specifically because I will not let society tell me that a long-haired swordsman in black armor isn't the coolest fucking thing. I'm really curious about his teleportation. The animation for it seems very dark in nature, like he used a dark magic spell, or maybe he is a creature of darkness. He has Yuritsa's personal skill, fuck, what's it called? Not unsatiable hunger. That sounds like something Owain would say. Something akin to bloodlust. So I'm really curious what his story is. I don't think we even really know anything about it. Dietrich, a swordsman characterized by his good looks and long hair. He speaks in a detached way, but his words are often aggressive. Alright, so who the fuck knows? He has anger problems. What does this mean? I don't know. I want to know. I'm going to find out. What other dark, evil spells can he do? Is it just teleportation to go through walls? Can he, like, summon darkness to do other things? Like, I don't know, create obstacles or some cool shit? I don't know. His sword is called the Answerer, which is really stupid, and I mean that positively. There's not a whole lot to say about him, because we know, like, the least about him, really. But I think he looks cool. I'm excited to see how the hell he goes. And last but not least, we have the dancer and presumed 4th main character, Lita. I am the most excited for her. No, I just said it about Dietrich. Second most. Pretend like I have coherent thoughts. I'm very interested to see how her summoning works. Her things, she really fucking hates someone. she says, hang on, let me get the exact word. She says there's a man she hates so much that death alone isn't enough for him. That's some straight up Karapika, I learned how to fight with chains because there's people in this world I need to drag to hell myself kind of shit. Real hater arc right there. I'm curious to see who this man is. Could it be someone killed her parents because this is a JRPG and that's how that works? Could it be a sibling, a lover? I don't know. She wants to kill someone, and she does it by being a summoner. She had a guitar and summoned demonic beasts, and I'm really curious to see how that goes. You have summoning as a lord's mechanic, presuming that these are lords. I'm fairly certain these are lords, and that's awesome. Maybe it's because Final Fantasy X is my favorite Final Fantasy, but summoners fuck, and I really, really want to see a lord with summoning as their main concept. Because yeah, Fire Emblem's had summoning before with Gaiden. Your Saints could summon, and Fire Emblem 8 had summoners. Izuka was technically a summoner, but like fucked up and evil. So I want to see what happens. What's the like depth of creature she can summon? Is it just big demonic beasts? Are there going to be little smaller ones? It reminds me of Tear Ring Saga, where your healers, there was a staff for each summon. There was the Golem staff, there was the Harpy staff, there was another staff that I'm blanking on. So is it going to be like that? She needs to collect a different instrument for every summon? That could be really cool. Or maybe she needs to learn more songs. Maybe it's going to be a Legend of Zelda kind of thing, where fucking, I don't know, Sothis comes in and it's just like, you know, Lita, you remind me of an ancient song passed down by my ancestors. Up A, B, down left, and then you summon a fucking dragon. I'm really curious to see where that goes. I think gameplay-wise, I'm interested in all of them. It depends on how hard they go into their quirks. Like, how much is the fact that Kai's an animal tamer really going to matter? Is it just going to be like his promotion is a different animal? Or is he going to have to decide by a map-by-map basis? Are the gambits for Theodora, like, genuinely unique to her and she needs to plan which gambit to use? And it's like another resource bar to manage? Like, there's so much for every lord, and I'm really curious how they shape up in a gameplay perspective. Story-wise, we know too little about any of them, really, to make a judgment call. We have not seen an avatar yet, but that girl with the glasses might be? I mean, we've seen Kai as an ally unit on a map, and not just an enemy, which is part of why I think we're doing a Radiant Dawn situation. But, so we know, like, the main lords are not necessarily the main character, at least on every map. I'm hoping there's no avatar. Like, I generally don't like them at all. Corrin and Alir fucking suck. Byleth and Robin are okay. Chris is fine for when you can tell that a scene was meant to have them there. And Mark is the GOAT, because he doesn't say anything. But, if it's gonna happen again, I don't know. I feel like these stories very much lend themselves to these are the main characters, you're playing as them. Like, there was a scene where Kai was running around doing exploration. And if there is an avatar, wouldn't they be doing it? I don't know. I'm hoping there's no avatar, but that girl with the glasses very clearly looks like she's important. And the fact that we didn't get really anything in the trailer about her is, interesting. I don't remember if the first trailer of Three Houses showed off that there was an avatar. So, it might be the case of the next trailer is going to show her off and she's going to be customizable, blah, 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 but hopefully not. But we'll see. A lot of people really like avatars, so I might just be a curmudgeon-y old man and be like, eh, back in my day, Cloud Strife was his own character, meh. But, fucking Final Fantasy VII came out the day I was born. What the hell's wrong with me? Anyways. Oh yeah, and the last thing about this, I don't know when this takes place, because Sophis is there, and that girl is a grown-ass woman. I don't know what that means. I really can't say anything about that. If I had to guess, Sophis being a grown... If this is a sequel, then they might have to make one of the routes in Three Houses the route. Like how in order for Thracia 776 to work, they had to, like, because Ced was there, they had to give Ced a mother, and they canonized Lewin and Fury. Not necessarily to say that if you're playing FE4, that was what actually happened. It's just what had to happen for FE5. So, maybe they'll do that. Maybe it's a prequel. I am not enough of a Fire Emblem Three Houses aficionado to really have that encyclopedic knowledge that will recognize every individual crest. That means, oh, this family's here, that family's there. I don't know. I am curious about what adult Sophis means. Does this mean she's gonna take an active role? Like, not just be a voice inside Byleth's head, but like, walk onto the battlefield herself and open up several cans of whoop-ass? Because I'd fuck with that. I'd fuck with that heavy. But, yeah, I am super interested gameplay-wise especially. Like, I am really curious how this game's gonna play. Story, I'm also intrigued, but I think there's a lot more shown off of gameplay than people realize. And I'm really curious to see how in-depth it gets. But, yeah, what did you think? I have not seen the Fire Emblem community this banded together in a while. Engage was really divisive, Three Houses was really divisive, but Three Houses, not two, we don't know if it's a prequel or sequel, it's a partner game, right? Like, it's Radiant Dawn to Path of Radiance, it's Mystery of the Emblem to Shadow Dragon and the Blade of Light, Thracia 776 to Genealogy of the Holy War. Fire Emblem just does this. I've seen some tweets saying that, oh my god, they're milking Three Houses, because in the 6 years since Three Houses came out, we got one spin-off and one partner game that is very much what the series has always done. Not the spin-off, but the partner game thing. But still, I'm excited for it. I fucking love Three Houses. Really, my only big flaws with it were some of the maps weren't great, and having to replay, Dark Clouds. What the Dark Cloud? That's a PS2 game. Whatever the hell the prologues, like the first half of the game. Its name is blanking on me. And another game could easily fix both of those problems. Just have good map design, and if you are going to make us play 4 separate stories, which again, I am really leaning on, all 4 of the stories literally weaving together, if you're going to make us do that, give us some option to start after we've picked our route. Or just make us pick our route at the start and actually have them be different. There are so many easy ways to fix Three Houses' biggest problems, and I think if they do that, we might have the best Fire Emblem game of our lives on our hands. But you know, saying this game's gonna be the greatest game ever made after one 2.5 minute trailer, come on, that's jumping the gun a little bit. But who gives a shit? Let's jump the gun, because it's more fun that way. Alright? We are about to play the greatest video game ever made. And if Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave is not the greatest game ever made, we can always fall back on the best strategy RPG on the Nintendo Switch. I am of course talking about Project Triangle Strategy. Except they removed Project from the title and it's just called Triangle Strategy, and I've forgotten that for the last like 3 or 4 years. It's a good fucking game, you should play that one too. But yeah. Bye-bye.